What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So this Arab American man went public with some commentary about Kamala Harris and Renee. He's just basically using these words that I'm not going to repeat to sort of signal how he sees power dynamics between black folks, brown folks, and the political elites. And yeah, it's messy, right? But what's got me thinking is this: why are people still dragging Kamala when she never even held the presidency, but instead warned America about what was coming from MAGA to right-wing pundits? Everyone has got an opinion right now. Apparently, Republicans, Democrats, leftists, rightists, they're all just jabbering at each other while the real issue sits untouched. Anyways, let's watch the clips. Great goes to all the original creators. Thank you so much for tapping when you saw this video. We'll be back with some commentary.
If a person being black absolves them of doing wrong things, you are no better than the white people who can't see when white people do the wrong thing. Renee ran up on Kamala Harris during her book tour and called her the war criminal that she is because she prioritized a Jewish supremacist colonizing state over actually defeating fascism and, maybe going in a different direction than Joe Biden, the white colonizing man who said he's still a proud Zionist mid-Holocaust. I just want to remind y'all, Renee is a field Negro. Kamala Harris is a house Negro. She's in the house selling her book, while Renee is out in the field harassing people like Ted Cruz, all of the people in the government. You see them going up and down the halls with CJ, something that none of y'all are doing, but y'all want to call her an online leftist, which is absolutely hilarious, while you're online while she's out in the field. And you're defending a war criminal, and she's defending, humanity, something that your political strategists don't have for you. No think tank is going to make you guys look like you're humane again after supporting a Holocaust. And then all you guys can do is come after her braids while calling her anti-black. How does that work? On behalf of, again, a house Negro who doesn't even have ancestors from this place right here. I can't even call her a house Negro. She ain't even one of us.
Back during slavery, when black people like me talked to the slaves, they didn't kill them. They sent some old house Negro along behind him to undo what he said. You have to read the history of slavery to understand this. There were two kinds of Negroes. There was that old house Negro and the field Negro. And the house Negro always looked out for his master. When the field Negroes got too much out of line, he held them back in check. He put them back on the plantation. The house Negro could afford to do that because he lived better than the field Negro. He ate better, he dressed better, and he lived in a better house. He lived right up next to his master in the attic or the basement. He ate the same food his master ate and wore his same clothes. And he could talk just like his master. Good diction. And he loved his master more than his master loved himself. That's why he didn't want his master hurt. If the master got sick, he'd say, "What's the matter, boss? We sick?" When the master's house caught a fire, he'd try and put the fire out. He didn't want his master's house burned. He never wanted his master's property threatened. And he was more defensive of it than the master was. That was the house Negro. But then you had some field Negroes who lived in huts, had nothing to lose. They wore the worst kind of clothes, they ate the worst food, and they caught hell. They felt the sting of the lash. They hated their master. Oh, yes, they did. If the master got sick, they prayed that the master died. If the master's house caught a fire, they prayed for a strong wind to come along. This was the difference between the two. And today you still have house Negroes and field Negroes. I'm a field Negro.
I want to remind y'all, Renee is a field Negro. Kamala Harris is a house Negro. She's in the house selling her book.
It's not even remotely funny, but the fact that you called that girl an outside ninja and you called Kamala Harris an inside ninja, boy, what the fuck are you? Because if we're gonna do this, let's do this. You would be inside with Kamala, okay? You'd be a butler, you'd be help cooking and cleaning. Hell, you may be driving the motherfucking carriage, bro, but you right there too. I swear you leftists, something is wrong with y'all. Y'all are mentally unstable. Because to refer to two black women, no matter what shades they are, as slaves and in-house and out-house, you lost the plot. On top of that, when the fuck are y'all going to understand that she is not president? If you wanted to criticize this black woman, you should have put her black ass in office. Right now, All of y'all just talking out the side of your necks. The one person you should be focusing on is Tupe Fiasco. But y'all trying to hold a woman who had no power in office. Make it make sense, y'all dummies. Y'all, you know what? Y'all fucking chaos agents. And then I just found out that old girl that you talking about calling her a field ninja, that girl's being paid by Code Pink. Cause I can look at her and tell her she ain't got no coins. She's struggling like the rest of us over here. Somebody need to redo them fucking braids. Yeah, I said that shit. And what? Talking about Democrats and liberals getting paid. Come to find out, all y'all hoes are agents. Y'all might as well team up with MAGA for all this shit. You need to, where's your mama? Cause she need to slap this shit. Ooh!
I just want to remind y'all, Renee is a field Negro. Kamala Harris is a house Negro. She's in the house selling her book while Renee is out in the field.
Oh, hell no. Nah, light skins are down 1,000,000 points right now. There's no way you just said this, bro. Context. What made you even remotely think that that was a good comparison, bro? Are we being so serious right now? Like, who spends $500 to go bother somebody? That $500 could have went towards the families in Gaza who are starving. Hello! Or towards legal fees, towards families getting separated by ICE? I don't know. Mind you, you are saying this to your majority non-black audience. The majority of your audience is not black, bro. They're non-black. And you saying this in front of not... I'm done.
I want to make sure I'm getting this right. Because I just woke up. But, so, this black woman, Kamala Harris, who is qualified to do the job that she went out for, right? She's qualified, she's already warned everyone about Lil Mouth and his policies and what's going to happen if they implement it and how it's going to affect America. She told y'all that. And then Lil Mouth, he showed y'all that he wasn't qualified. He said that he was going to run this country like he ran his businesses, even though he doesn't have any successful businesses. And the businesses that he did have that lasted for a little while, they were inherited. Nothing that he's ever created has lasted for a long time. His bankruptcies hurt banks so bad. But whatever, right? So she told you what was going to happen if you let that unsuccessful, uneducated, I don't even know what to call it, but she told y'all what was going to happen if he went, right? Boom. She didn't get a job. Y'all didn't see the value in her. Y'all didn't think she was qualified enough. All right, cool. Pretty sure it hurt, but whatever. True to black women forum, we pick up where we left off, take our L, and go. She wrote a book. Book is doing successful. She's on a book tour. You motherfuckers who wanted the unsuccessful, uneducated, don't know shit about politics, Lil Mouth, over her. But y'all protesting at her events, telling her to do something that involves a job that y'all didn't feel she was good enough for. If y'all don't take y'all fucking asses to 1600 Pennsylvania Ave Northwest in Washington, D.C., and hold that unsuccessful businessman accountable that y'all put in fucking office? Like, what the fuck? I don't get it. That's just like that this purple revolution shit. No. Stand on your fucking choice. Because you shouldn't be surprised about anything. He was very clear with what he said he was going to do. She told y'all what he said he was going to do. Y'all thought it was a fucking joke. Stand on that decision. Leave her the fuck alone. She didn't get the job.
Renee ran up on Kamala Harris during her book tour and called her the war criminal that she is.
Jesus Christ, why? What is you talking about? First of all, are we talking about the same Renee that went to a book signing tour? The same fucking idiot that was outside talking about she did something? What a fucking moron.
Kamala Harris at her book tour. People are in there celebrating her being a war criminal, and it's absolutely apparent. She went right-wing on all of her policies.
Let's not forget that Kamala Harris is not the president of the United States. You sit there with your eyes wide open saying that Joe Biden said it in his whole chest that he was nothing more than a Zionist. Shut the fuck up. You don't know what the fuck you are talking about. You look like you haven't gotten any sleep in days. You look like you haven't even had coffee. You don't blink. And that is the problem with you. You don't know shit from a hole in the ground. Boy, you are the stupidest child I've ever seen in my life. You need to be sitting in front of the corner. Yeah, we get it that Renee had gotten into the face of Ted Cruz and all that sort of shit. Do you really think that that ass fool who went to Camp Coon 1 year damn near let his entire constituents damn near freeze to death over a power grid that they didn't even have, that hadn't even been upgraded? You think that that fool is going to listen to this black female who has braids tied to her head? Shut the fuck.
Kamala Harris quite literally released a book in which she stated that Joe Biden's staffers were lying to him regularly about his favorability and that his team attempted to sabotage, and I think successfully sabotage, but attempted to sabotage her presidential run in an effort to preserve his presidential legacy. And yet, every day you guys hop on this app and you're like, what about the TikTok leftists? How do we blame them? You can lead a horse to water. You cannot make it drink. Maybe I've missed it, but I have not seen any storms of outrage about Joe Biden's staffers literally saying to Kamala Harris's team that if she says anything negative about him, that they would not push her to his donors. It seems like a significantly bigger factor that consistently Biden and Biden's team lost her that election. No, I'm sure it's somebody with 200,000 followers. I'm sure it's them.
Are we ready to have an honest conversation about the fact that it was never about Kamala Harris's politics and her ability to lead, and had everything to do with the fact that she's a black woman? Y'all said y'all main problem was that y'all didn't want her in office because you didn't think she was going to do anything about it. Now she's not in office and holds no official authority, and y'all are showing up to her book signing to protest? Meanwhile, y'all could just show up to the actual president and vice president's events to protest. Y'all could show up to where Joe Biden is at and protest, since he was the actual former president and had the actual authority while he was sitting in the seat. But instead, y'all chose to protest a book tour for a black woman who has no political authority. I'ma keep saying that this had everything to do with the fact that she's a black woman, because if y'all recall, Joe Biden was vice president at one point. And did you know that the same thing that's happening over in Gaza was happening in many countries in Africa? And y'all didn't protest when he was running for office. Okay.
You know what I wouldn't do if I thought someone was a war criminal? Give them my money. Line their pockets and then go to the event that they're hosting to disrupt something. What are you doing? This is nonsense. This is not doing anything. We are past the blame game point. We need to get to the handshake point. We need to get to the enemy of my enemy is my friend point, and you refuse to do that. Some people are not lucky enough to live in a state where they're most likely not going to be that affected by a Republican presidency. Like, oh yeah, there's people coming to my city. Yeah, but you have people protesting, don't you? In Nashville, in Oklahoma, in fucking Kansas, people are opening the door wide open for these people to come here. Nobody in Kansas has a neighbor who's going to protect them because their neighbor probably ratted on them.
9 months. 9 months is all it took for this country to regress 70, 80 fucking years. And all for what? For people to virtue signal and say, I didn't vote for the black woman. I didn't support Kamala Harris. And say that she was responsible for things that she literally had no fucking authority or power over. Also that people who got fucking hoodwinked allegedly, but they really wanted to be affirmed in their bigoted views, thinking that grocery prices were going to go down, thinking that this fucking orange bastard who only ever thinks about himself was going to put America first. Also that the 1% could become even richer while me and you have to foot the bill for them. Also that things like AI couldn't be regulated so we could watch it destroy the fucking communities of individuals that look like me, black and brown communities. Also that the fucking military can be weaponized against the citizens of this country so that ICE could be going into black and brown neighborhoods, snatching people up
up with no due process and covering up their faces because they know that the shit is heinous and so that they can not be identified. Also, that the genocide that is going on around the globe in fucking Congo, Sudan, Palestine could continue going on, and so that people could continue getting on these applications and virtue signaling like they give a fuck when they literally allow the worst of all of the realities to fucking happen. All for what? In 9 months, we have literally watched the regression of so much shit, and I am asking all for fucking what? Because you look around and you see all of the progress that has.
The language he used was ugly, yes, but it also forces us to ask who gets to speak for Black and brown communities and who stays silent because they feel powerless. Drop your thoughts below. Why do you think Kamala gets attacked so hard from so many sides? Is it because she's a Black woman in power, a symbol, or something else entirely? And as always, like, share, and subscribe if you're with me on this. And credit goes to the original creators of the clip. Quick disclaimer, this is just for education and commentary purposes. As usual, I'll see you on my next one.